Imagine facing an army that seems impossible to defeat. You sharpen your sword, steady your shield, and prepare for the clash, believing that victory will belong to the better fighters. But before the first blade ever strikes, you've already lost. Your enemy has marched hundreds of miles without running out of food. Their soldiers are rested because roads carried them faster than anyone expected. Their commanders already know the terrain because engineers surveyed it days before. Their camp, built in just a few hours, stands behind defensive walls stronger than many permanent towns. Even if you win today's battle, another equally trained Roman army is already on its way. For centuries, people believed Rome conquered the ancient world because of one weapon, the gladius. The short Roman sword became a symbol of imperial power, appearing in movies, paintings, and history books. Yet the truth is far more surprising. The gladius was important, but it was never the real secret behind Rome's astonishing success. Rome's greatest weapon couldn't be held in one hand. It couldn't be forged in a blacksmith's fire or carried into battle on a soldier's belt. It was something far more powerful. It was an entire system, a machine built from discipline, engineering, logistics, and organization so advanced that it transformed ordinary men into the most effective military force of the ancient world. To understand why Rome became one of history's greatest empires, we have to look beyond the sword. The Roman Republic emerged in central Italy around the 6th century BC, surrounded by rival city-states, ambitious kingdoms, and powerful enemies. Unlike many ancient civilizations ruled by kings, Rome gradually developed a republican government where elected officials shared power, though political influence remained concentrated among wealthy families. Rome's early years were anything but easy. The Republic fought constant wars against neighboring tribes, the Etruscans, the Samnites, and eventually the Greek cities of southern Italy. Every victory brought new territory, but every conquest also created new challenges. Rome needed to defend longer borders, govern larger populations, and move armies farther than ever before. Military service became deeply woven into Roman society. Citizens viewed defending the Republic as both a duty and an honor. Success in war brought wealth, political prestige, and opportunities for expansion. Defeat threatened not only Rome's security but its very survival. By the 3rd century BC, Rome faced perhaps its greatest rival, Carthage. Located across the Mediterranean in North Africa, Carthage possessed immense wealth, a powerful navy, and brilliant commanders such as Hannibal. The Punic Wars tested Rome to its limits. Entire Roman armies were destroyed. Thousands of citizens died. Yet Rome refused to surrender. That determination revealed something extraordinary about Roman warfare. Even after catastrophic defeats, the Republic somehow rebuilt its armies, reorganized its strategy, and continued fighting. Other states collapsed after losing a single major battle. Rome simply created another army. This resilience hinted at a truth that would define Roman military history for centuries. Individual victories mattered, but systems mattered even more. When people imagine Roman soldiers, they picture disciplined infantry advancing in formation with rectangular shields and gleaming helmets. That image is largely accurate, but the real strength of a Roman legion began long before soldiers reached the battlefield. Recruitment and training followed remarkably consistent standards. Legionaries learned to march extraordinary distances carrying heavy equipment. Ancient sources suggest they often covered around 20 miles a day while burdened with armor, weapons, food, tools, and personal supplies. The goal wasn't simply endurance. It was predictability. Every commander knew exactly what his soldiers could accomplish because every soldier trained to nearly identical standards. Training was relentless. Recruits practiced with wooden swords and shields heavier than those used in combat. Fighting with extra weight built strength and stamina, making real weapons feel lighter during battle. Soldiers repeated formations until movement became instinctive. Orders could spread through the ranks with remarkable speed because everyone understood precisely how to respond. Discipline extended far beyond combat drills. Roman armies followed strict regulations governing camp construction, marching order, guard duty, and equipment maintenance. Punishments could be severe, but discipline also created trust. Every soldier believed the man beside him would hold his position. Perhaps nowhere was Roman organization more impressive than their daily camps. Unlike many ancient armies that slept wherever they stopped, Roman legions built fortified camps almost every evening. After a day's march, soldiers dug ditches, raised earthworks, erected wooden palisades, and laid out streets according to standardized plans. Officers always knew where every unit would be located. Supplies could be distributed efficiently. Guards protected every entrance. These camps weren't temporary collections of tents. They functioned as carefully designed military bases. If enemies launched a surprise attack during the night, they faced walls, trenches, and organized defenders instead of exhausted troops scrambling in darkness. Roman soldiers often joked that they carried their fortress on their backs. Engineering became another decisive advantage. Where mountains blocked movement, Romans carved roads. Where rivers interrupted campaigns, they built bridges. Julius Caesar famously demonstrated this during his campaigns in Gaul. In 55 BC, rather than relying on boats to cross the Rhine, his engineers constructed a massive wooden bridge in just 10 days. The crossing shocked nearby Germanic tribes. The bridge wasn't merely practical. It was psychological warfare, proving that natural obstacles offered little protection against Roman determination and engineering skill. Roads became the arteries of the empire. Before Rome, many ancient roads were little more than dirt tracks vulnerable to weather and difficult for large armies. Roman engineers transformed transportation through carefully layered construction using stone, gravel, drainage systems, and precise surveying. Some roads remained usable for centuries. These roads allowed legions to move with unprecedented speed. Reinforcements could arrive before rebellions spread. Supplies reached distant frontiers more reliably. Communication between provinces became faster than almost anywhere else in the ancient world. Logistics, often overlooked by popular history, became perhaps Rome's greatest battlefield advantage. An army marches on its stomach, although that famous phrase would not be coined until much later. Roman commanders understood the principle perfectly. Soldiers required food, water, replacement weapons, medical care, and animals for transport. Without reliable supplies, even the strongest army quickly became helpless. Rome developed extensive supply networks supported by roads, warehouses, ports, and local administration. Grain shipments fed thousands of soldiers. Blacksmiths repaired equipment. Engineers built siege machines from locally gathered materials. Administrative officials kept detailed records that allowed campaigns to continue for months or even years. This organization gave Roman commanders strategic flexibility. Instead of fighting only during favorable seasons near home, Roman armies could conduct prolonged campaigns across vast distances. Whether advancing through Gaul, crossing deserts in the Near East, or defending Britain's northern frontier, Roman logistics sustained military operations on a scale few rivals could match. Battlefield tactics reflected the same adaptability. Popular culture often portrays Roman warfare as rigid formations marching directly toward the enemy. Reality was more sophisticated. Roman commanders adjusted their methods depending on terrain, opponents, and circumstances. Against heavily armored enemies, disciplined infantry formations proved devastating. Against swift cavalry or guerrilla fighters, Romans adapted through auxiliary troops recruited from across the empire. Archers from Syria, cavalry from Gaul, slingers from the Balearic Islands, and horsemen from Numidia all served alongside Roman citizens. This diversity allowed Rome to combine specialized skills from conquered peoples instead of forcing every soldier into the same role. Even the famous gladius reflected practical thinking rather than technological superiority. Historians believe Rome adopted its design after encountering effective Iberian swords during campaigns in Spain. The Romans weren't afraid to copy successful ideas. If an enemy possessed better equipment or tactics, Rome often incorporated those innovations into its own military system. Flexibility extended to leadership as well. While brilliant commanders such as Scipio Africanus, Julius Caesar, Germanicus, and Trajan achieved spectacular victories, Roman success rarely depended entirely upon individual genius. The army functioned effectively because its organization survived changes in leadership. Experienced centurions maintained discipline within the ranks, while standardized procedures ensured continuity. Even disasters became lessons. The Battle of Cannae in 216 BC remains one of history's greatest tactical defeats. Hannibal surrounded and annihilated a massive Roman army, killing tens of thousands. Many civilizations would have accepted peace after such a catastrophe. Rome did the opposite. The Republic refused negotiation, recruited new soldiers, avoided direct confrontations when necessary, improved its strategy, and gradually wore Hannibal down through persistence and superior resources. Rome lost battles but ultimately won wars because its institutions outlasted temporary setbacks. That resilience became the empire's defining military characteristic. Several fascinating details about the Roman army rarely receive the attention they deserve. Roman soldiers were expected to carry not only weapons but also construction tools. Shovels, picks, baskets, and stakes accompanied them on campaign because building fortifications was considered just as important as fighting. In many ways, every legionary was part soldier and part engineer. Standardization also reached surprising levels. Equipment was increasingly produced using consistent patterns, making repairs and replacements far easier than in many rival armies. While complete uniformity varied across different periods of Roman history, maintaining compatible gear simplified logistics and training. Another common myth is that Roman soldiers always fought in the famous testudo, or tortoise formation, with shields covering every direction. In reality, this formation was reserved for specific situations, particularly during sieges or when advancing under heavy missile fire. It was effective but slow and unsuitable for most battlefield conditions. Many people also imagine Roman roads being built solely for civilian travelers. Their primary purpose, however, was military mobility. Merchants, officials, and civilians certainly benefited, but the roads existed first to move soldiers quickly wherever they were needed. Perhaps most surprising is that Rome frequently rewarded competence over tradition. The army continuously evolved over centuries. Equipment changed, recruitment practices shifted, tactical formations developed. Historians still debate the exact pace and extent of some of these reforms, particularly during the transition from the Republic to the Empire, but few dispute that adaptation remained central to Roman military success. Finally, archaeology continues revealing just how organized Roman military life truly was. Excavated forts across Britain, Germany, and the Middle East display remarkably similar layouts despite being separated by thousands of miles. Soldiers arriving at a distant frontier would immediately recognize the design because Roman planning followed familiar principles throughout the empire. The Roman Empire eventually declined, and its armies could no longer guarantee victory. Economic troubles, political instability, external invasions, and internal conflict gradually weakened the military machine that had once dominated the Mediterranean. Yet Rome's greatest military lessons survived long after the empire itself disappeared. The secret of Roman power was never simply sharper swords or stronger soldiers. It was the understanding that preparation defeats improvisation, organization overcomes chaos, and disciplined systems can accomplish what individual brilliance alone cannot. Every road laid across Europe, every fortified camp raised before sunset, every carefully measured march, and every standardized drill represented pieces of a much larger strategy. Together, they created an army capable of conquering continents not because its soldiers were superhuman, but because every part of the machine worked together with remarkable precision. The gladius became the symbol of Roman military might, but symbols rarely tell the whole story. Behind every victorious legion stood engineers, builders, surveyors, quartermasters, trainers, and commanders bound together by one of history's most sophisticated military systems. In the end, Rome's deadliest weapon was never the sword in a soldier's hand. It was the invisible network of discipline, logistics, engineering, and organization that made that soldier almost impossible to defeat.